All right. Welcome back to this motivational money, this magnificent money, this money making Monday. And you're live again with the Chatterbox with King Jacob. I'm your host, King Jacob. And we have another star-studded episode, man. Today we're going to be talking about community service. Are you a giver and why you're a giver? And with you giving, how does that fall into line with youth mentorship? And so you have this man has been on the show before, Mr. Jamarius Tyquez. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. How you doing? Thank you for having me. Seriously, thank you.
Um, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm doing great. Man. So, you know, we talk a lot, man, and we always talk about, where there's work to be done, there's a service to be rendered. And so, giving back comes from the heart, it comes from the soul, it's a gift that many don't have. But
Yeah,
the ones who possess this gift are, the golden child. It's
yeah,
the golden children, it's something within them that makes them want to give back, that that makes them feel the need that they have to be a servant. You know what I mean? So before we get into the topic, man, who is Jamarius Tyquez?
Oh, oh, that answer is forever changing. But I am a motivator. I am someone who shows people that God's love and God's grace and God's mercy, it is real. I'm here to show people that it doesn't matter, who you are, where you come from, what you've dealt with. God still sees you and He still hears you, and there are still things that He wants to give to you. Um, I'm a person who is a radical faith. Like I want to show people, I do do the thing that scares you the most, because what scares you the most is what God wants to use. And a lot of
Hmm.
times we get so comfortable. But I before anything, I love the story about Abraham, because Abraham, he went to a place that God showed him nothing. Abraham didn't know where he was going, didn't know if he was going to have anything, but he went to a place that God showed him. And everywhere that
Hmm.
he went, there was always a different place for him to go. And it was always a different assignment for him to have. And so I want people to see that there are assignments attached to your purpose. You can't just be stuck to one thing, but you have to be dedicated to the assignments that were placed on your life.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a spotlight, and I'm going to let you talk to the audience, and I'm gonna allow you to tell them about your journey from South Carolina to California and why you entered the world of performance arts and why was it so important for you to do this for you. So you have the floor.
Mm. I Let's start from the beginning. As a child, I always had this, what you would call, this unique style about me. I dressed differently. I liked different things. Different there were different interests that interest me. I was a church boy at heart, and as I grew up, I realized that I really loved singing. And singing to me, it it felt like a safe space. I didn't have to worry about nobody. Nothing was gonna hurt me. I was good. And when I was able to really be okay with being who I am, and being okay with being exactly who God has called me to be, unique, very different, very,
All right, he should be back momentarily. But this young man is originally from Batesburg, Leesville, South Carolina, and he always been performing and doing stuff in the church in the community. So I remember him talking to me a couple years ago about he wanted to make that transition to move to
I'm
California, and he made the transition to California in one of the largest performing arts schools in the state of California, and he's been there ever since doing his thing. Voice, um, you know, acting, speaking, casting calls, the creative writing, script writing, journalism, all the above.
yeah,
So, um, you know, that's what he was set out to do. And so
yeah,
he's definitely doing it, living his dream. And
yeah.
I commend him from that. I salute him from that. So without further ado,
I'm
we'll
sorry.
get into this. You good. You good. You good. I know you had some technical difficulties, so you good. So I just went on with it. So
Yeah.
so you
Thank
good.
you.
So no problem. So you're welcome. So we'll definitely get into the topic, man. Community service. What does it mean to you, and how does mentorship, youth mentorship, that is, go so well with community service? How do they coexist with one another? In your opinion, from your experience.
The youth are, and this is so cliche, but the youth are really the future. Like my generation, the generation, is it X, Generation Z? No, Generation Z.
Mm-hmm.
We are the
Right.
millennials. Like we are the future, you know. And I think that nowadays it's becoming so cliche to have, like, and I remember we was talking about this the other day, but there are there are less communities and there are less structures. You know, back in the day, even when I'm saying back in the day, but I'm still young. But like when I was a younger boy, I had great grandparents and grandparents who were calling people around. Hey, we having a family dinner today. Hey, they'll call Sunday morning after church. Hey, y'all, we getting together at 5 o'clock today. Be here. Nowadays, it's very hard for that. You know, everybody's in their own world. Everybody wants to do their own thing, and so I think community service helps people realize just how important it is to have community. But also, I think that it will help the youth to know that they are important and they are great and they have the opportunity and the ability to be able to do something greater than what they are seeing right now.
Right, right, right. So with the structure of community service, with community service, there has to be customer service, because
Yeah,
if you are part of the community, and somebody is rendering a service to you, then they have to have great customer service.
yeah.
And so with being in the community, man, do you think people are still taught great customer service skills,
Uh-huh.
or has that went out the window?
That is funny to me. I think that customer service now, it is very far and few because so many people, they think that they are too grand to talk to people. They think they're too grand to
Hmm.
send a message. They think they're too grand. Oh, go to my web and yeah, you have those, implement those that structure. Have a website. Have a plan. Have all of that where people can go and just purchase or whatever or listen to your music or whatever. But also, you can't be too big to talk to people. You know, because that's how community starts. You don't want to just be able to make money, but you want to have an impact on people. You want to be able for people to say, "Man, he or she said something that didn't just make me want to buy from them, but it made me want to have a connection with them." That's why you have people like Tabitha Brown who can sell anything and people feel like they have a connection. That's Auntie Tab, you know, because she
Right.
has made it her business to say, I see you. And I think that we have to get back to that. But again, it comes from that community. Because I grew up in church where you had to talk to those people with respect. You talk to your elders with respect. You talk to the people who were serving you with respect. You talk to, people who are on your choir with respect. You talk to the pastor with respect. but also they also respected you, and they gave you that same respect. Now sometimes it wasn't like that, but for the most part, it was always respect. And so I think that comes from community. But nowadays, social media has taken over the whole world. You know, you can find out what you need going to TikTok. You can find out what you need going to YouTube. You can find out what you need going to Facebook. You know, you don't need to call nobody. You don't need to go to somebody's door and say, "Hey, I need a question. I need a question answered." No, you can go straight to social media and it'll tell you everything. And that's
Right,
why I
right,
think a
right.
lot of us
So
got social anxiety.
right, and I can dig it. I can dig it. So we hold that thought. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back on the chat box with King Jacob, with none other than Jamarius Tyquez. All right, we're back. So with that being said, man, go ahead and dig in on the last comment that you made
Mm, about the social
when
anxiety.
it, when it comes to social anxiety.
So
So
yeah,
hold it right there.
yeah.
Just hold it right there for a
Oh,
minute.
so
Social anxiety,
yeah,
social anxiety, social bullying,
yeah.
cyberbullying,
Mm,
and just social media
yeah,
has taken over the world. But
yeah,
when you're in the community and you're serving of the community and you're doing youth mentorship, social media can be the greatest asset and the
yeah,
greatest tool in the world.
yeah,
And so, and I feel like that right there can help someone come out of social anxiety
yeah,
because they see that you're not the same like everyone else on social media. And those kind words of encouragement, those moments of upliftment, and those people that allow you to understand that you got to have faith in yourself and believe in yourself because you were born to win, you was built to win, and God's favor is everything. So speak on it.
oh, social anxiety, social media, social bullying, cyberbullying, all of that. Let's talk about that. First off, I think I think in the last 5 years, social anxiety has skyrocketed, and we have to give a little bit of that to COVID. You know, we were in the house, and so during COVID, a lot of people they were in the house. They had to like fight to want to be in the house. And then there were some people who was like, "Oh, I can dig this. I'll stay in the house all day." I was one of those people. I can stay in the house all day. I am an extroverted introvert. I will talk to somebody. I'll be waving at people I don't even know. But on the inside, I'm like, I want to stay home in my bed, cuddle up, drink me some hot tea, drink me some coffee, watch TV, and do my thing. But again, I think that um, a lot of what we deem to be social anxiety is just us not just us being okay with being comfortable, and that can go from a lot of stuff. But social anxiety can really go into social bullying and cyberbullying. And the reason why that is because a lot of people they are too afraid to be themselves. You on social media, you see so many people who look the same, they talk the same, they act the same, they post the same stuff. They want everybody to. They have it's an aesthetic that they want. But I remember in 2012 when we would be posting pictures, and the pictures were blurry. You know, our hair was messed up. We'll wake up in the morning and we'll just post a picture. Hey y'all. But now everybody gotta have a fresh beat. They gotta have their hair in place. They gotta have everything. And it's like I can't keep up with that. I can't keep up with going to the Bahamas every week. I can't keep up with having a flight every day. I can't keep up with you being a millionaire at 10. I can't keep up with that. You know, there are people who live regular lives who don't want to be pressured by the aesthetic of what social media brings. And so
Right, right,
that's where a
right.
lot of anxiety comes because then, now we're thinking about, okay, I got to have this by this time then. I got to be doing this by this time then. I got to be like this by this time. And it's like, no. God has a These lights are sensitive, so that's why they'll probably be going off and on. But I have a time frame that God has put on my path, and I don't want to rush nothing, and I don't want to delay nothing. And that's why we have to be so careful. I One of my prayers that I've been praying, I believe that God is gonna do it. I want to live to see 80, 85. And I always, sometimes when I start rushing, I'm like, okay, God, maybe some of this stuff, the reason why it's not working is because you want me to be 72 and doing this. You want me to be 85 and doing this. We just lost a great Quincy Jones. He was 91, 93, something around that age.
91
91
years
years
old.
old. And I saw this video, this interview of this guy saying he was talking to Quincy, and he said, how do you feel living a full life and actually doing being in your purpose and doing so many great things? And Quincy Jones told him, I feel like I'm just getting started. And that's what, I think that we have to start remembering is that our blessings and what God has for us is not on the time limit. And so I think that social anxiety goes, it plays into anxiety, period. Because people are scared to be exactly who they are. They feel like they have to be somebody to gain friends, be somebody to get followers, be somebody to so people can love them or people can respect them. And it's like, no, be exactly who you are. Because the right people will come to you if you are exactly who you are. The right people, the right
Right.
followers,
So
the right whatever will come to you. You just have to be exactly who you are.
that's right. So we have a great friend of mine, Miss Chantel Evans, out of the Charlotte, North Carolina area, owner, founder, you know, of Unique Blessings nonprofit organization. She fights for a lot of different causes. She fights against human trafficking, against sexual assault,
Mm.
against mental illness, depression, anxiety, and she also says, so true, social and emotional anxiety is so real, in which I couldn't agree with her even more. Now, another question that stems from her comment that I want to ask you, with you being a youth community advocate, um, how do you deal with people who have anxiety, or they have bipolar, or they schizophrenia, or they go through depression because their father wasn't in their life, or they go through what we call, religious depression. You know what I
Come
mean?
on.
And and yeah, let's talk about it. And
Yeah.
so, how do you deal with those type of people?
I be honest. And I tell them, you are not alone. Because there are sometimes I have to look in my mirror and say, God, I still trust you. There are sometimes when I have to like, say a good quick prayer and read the word of God and lay down. Don't even stress about what's going on. There are some times when I have to tell people, you know what, baby, we can fight through this together. Everybody crying together, And I think that that's what we need again. Um, and everybody who really knows me know that I grew up in church, but I just grew up in church. I really had to get a relationship with God because again, religious trauma is one of the most prominent traumas in the black community. And one thing that I heard that I not I heard but I also read in the Bible is that we could overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And there are so many people who are bound to anxiety and depression and fear and emotional trauma simply because there are not enough people who want to say, I've been through that. Oh, I'm going through this. And this is how I made it out. And that's why we have so many people who are going to TikTok and going to YouTube and going to Facebook trying to get answers for a for a remedy that can only come from the soul, from God, you know? And when we as youth advocates or advocates or whatever we want to be called, we have to be honest about not only our journey but our faith. and we have to be honest about the things that we've had to go through and how we got through them, or how we are getting through them. And once we do that, there are so many people who will have
Hmm.
the blueprint and the remedy for everything that they're going through. Because sometimes
Right.
we try so hard to give people this sweet, oh, it's going to be okay. Just pray about it. And yeah, praying about it is amazing. But people want to know I'm not alone in this. People want to know that I got somebody who I can cry to. And sometimes it's not people. Sometimes it's just strictly God. Sometimes you have to show people how to cry out to God and not to
Mm.
you. But also you have to be willing and obedient to where if God say, hey, you got a word for them, give it to them. And don't be ashamed of it. And don't disobey. Because once you disobey, then that causes a whole other situation, issue, problem. But you have to obey. But also we have to just show people love yourself. Love yourself. God created us and He created us good. That's one of the first things He said
Right. Right.
when He created us. I created, and this is good. And some days I have to look
Right.
in the mirror and say, God created me good. He created me great. There ain't nothing that I'm missing. There is nothing that God added that shouldn't have been there. Everything that I have about me right now, it is good because He created me this way. And so many people are facing anxiety and depression because they don't love themselves. And it's not because of they just don't love themselves. Again, social media, uh, growing up in families or households where you have parents who are constantly
I look like he froze a little bit, so we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back momentarily. All right, we're back. So we're discussing social anxiety and depression and how it's affecting the youth, but not just the youth, many people across the country. And so, with that being said, if you're an advocate in the community, you meet people who have social anxiety, who go through depression, who are battling, schizophrenia, who are battling, bipolarism, and just people who may not feel good about themselves. So, with that being said, with you being a servant of the community, advocate of the community, do you have any programs? Are you talking to people? Are you sitting down having a social session, with your peers, the youth? So, you know, what do you guys think could help the youth? Because we really got to pinpoint the youth because they are the future. They are our future nonprofit owners. They are our future, doctors, lawyers, school teachers, judges, accountants, engineers. They're our future. So, what do you guys think that we can do? So, leave something in the comments. So just let's just talk about it. And 8 out of 10 men will go through depression and hide it. And so, I can only speak for, black man because I'm a black man. But my question to you guys, why do you think that the black male hides the depression so much? Do you think that they feel like they can't be vulnerable because society has taught them that that's soft, you know, um, stop crying, stop being a big baby, so they can't be vulnerable? And a lot of men who are in relationships feel like they can't even open up to their woman. And so if you can't open up to the person that you come home to or the person that you're sharing your life with, then what's really going on? So are we not to have no vulnerability? We can't show a sensitive side at all, So with that being said,
the
why do
devil
black
is
men
mad.
hide? He good. He's all right. He's all right. So I took it to when we was talking about the depression and the anxiety.
Mm,
I can't speak on any other male, but I can speak on black males. I can speak
right.
on black men. And why do black men hide their depression so much? Is it that we have been taught to be strong and suck it up and go? Um, this ain't no time for the weak and the weary. Either you got it or you don't, or either you keep moving forward or you gonna get left behind. But why can't a black man don't feel like they can be vulnerable or sensitive with their own wives or their own girlfriend? You know, they still feel like she's gonna call him soft or she's
Yeah.
gonna tell him stop being a mama's boy. You know what I mean? So if you can't be tender and sensitive and 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 have some vulnerability with the one that you share your life with, then what are we doing here? Comments,
Yeah.
please.
I I wholeheartedly agree with you. I grew up in a family where men didn't really show their emotions that much. You know,
Right.
men didn't really say what they felt. Men didn't really, and when they said it, it was totally different than what they were really feeling. They could be sad, but it come off as anger. They could be, scared about something, and it came off as anger. That's all they knew. They knew how to project the anger, but a lot of them didn't know how to project. I'm sad right now. I'm scared right now. I'm fearful right now. But it comes off as anger. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that when I know when I was younger, there was this saying, uh, "Stop crying, boys don't cry. Boys don't cry." And although that statement is very small, that statement is very impactful because when you hear that at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, you grow up to be a 28-year old, 30-year old, a 40-year old, a 50-year old who say, boys don't cry. Men don't cry. If boys don't cry, you know for a fact the man don't cry. That's what we grow up thinking. That's what we grow up
And
having in
then
our body.
not only that, when you find somebody that you're interested in and she never and she never sees a vulnerable side of you. She never
Yeah,
sees a a kind of meek side of you, and everything is so the face of stone. You hardcore
yeah,
and she can't really talk to you in this, and it's always kind of aggressive. But what they don't understand, it's really not the male's fault that is aggressive like that. It's the fault. It's the only love they ever was shown is a roof over their head, clothes on their back, food on the table, and when the male asks you something that was in the household, yes sir, no sir. Do you understand what I'm saying, boy? Yes sir, I do understand. Okay, let's get it done. That was the love. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That was the love. On the flip side, is some men who have told their children that they love them. They tell them that every
yeah,
night before they go to bed. And those type of men, kind of really understand the vulnerable side of a male. But for those who don't understand the vulnerable side of a male, then, it's like when they
yeah,
date the chick, man, she feel like, what do I do here?
yeah,
And so how do we fix that 25, 30 years later? Because it ain't really went nowhere. It's a
yeah,
lot of it going on right now.
yeah. I'm gonna tell you, for me, um, just last year I started learning how to be in tune with my emotions. And the reason why I started learning how to be in tune with my emotions for years, of course um, there were a lot of figures in my life, but one that I really, really wanted was my father. And in the past year or two, me and my father have grown so close. And he got me. He's had this nickname for me since I was younger, and his nickname is he called me Tito. And every time he say, "Love you, Tito," "Love you, my boy," or he'll call me and he'll just check up on me, that makes me say, "That's my father." And that it healed a little bit in me because hearing a male that you know that you are connected to, that your DNA connects with each other. When you hear your father say, "I love you," that shifts something in your mind. And a lot of
Yeah.
men, of course, a lot of men now may not have that opportunity to hear "I love you" from a father because the father may be deceased or the father may be in a different
Hey
situation.
man, look, listen, man. I'm gonna tell you now. My pops passed away in
Yeah,
2015, and I give anything to hear those words
yeah,
again. So man, it does my heart good and does does my soul good
yeah,
to see that you and your father have connected and
yeah,
y'all are tight ever now, man. Don't ever lose
yeah.
that connection with your
Oh,
father
that's my man.
because he he is you and you are him. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? That's why the bloodline is so sacred. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Between the father and the son. So keep on doing what you're doing. But hold
yeah.
that thought. We're gonna take another quick commercial break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. And so Mr. Jamarius Tyquez was talking about the relationship that he recently built with his father. He says about 2 years going on three, and they're closer than ever now. And so just when you're writing in your journal, you know what I'm saying? Because I know you write a lot, right? And so when you write and you write about those family conversations,
Mhm.
those things that keep you going, man, what is that writing like when you go back and read it? You know,
Oh,
you
oh.
might proofread it, but you might open that book a month from now and read it again.
You know what's wild? And I'm working on another project, musical project, and it is uh, catered to a little bit of my family. And the reason why I did this is because a lot of us we need to know that community and family is important. You know,
Hmm.
and even if that is a family that you create or a family that you come from, it's important to have one. And that's why, even the internet cousin thing, it's not just so people can call me the internet cousin, but I want people to know that you got a family in me. So even if you text
Right.
me, I'm gonna text you back. There are some people now who have texted me and said thank you so much because I'll just sometimes I'll scroll through my friends list or I'll scroll through my messenger. I'm like, you know what? Let me check and see how they doing. Just checking to see how people are doing. That means a lot. And so I have this one song where my grandfather at the beginning of it, me and him having a phone conversation, and it was literally so random. And I go back and I listen to that a lot, or either with my grandmama. Sometimes I just, that woman, I adore her. I adore her. Both of my grandmothers, both of them, I adore them because they are women who have fought for their community. They don't even know what community service is. They don't know what a nonprofit organization is. But I bet you, if not more, they have they have done the same exact work and have the same exact impact as a nonprofit and a community service worker. Those ladies have worked in the community church. They've worked in the community even when they were sick, even when they didn't have it, even when they were sad, they would still go out and encourage somebody else. They would still go out and give food to somebody else. They would still go out and go pray for somebody else. And I would be with them. And that's what showed me the ropes. That's what showed me this is what you do. It's not all about getting, but it's about giving. What
Right.
can you give
Right.
to
Right.
somebody? What can you extend to somebody else? Because sometimes we get so caught up in, well, they didn't do this for me. Well, they didn't do that for me. Well, I it doesn't matter. What can you give? I would rather give and have more value than receiving more value. Because once you give, I believe it's in Micah. If not Micah, it's in Malachi. Give and it shall come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto thy bosom. And I've seen it happen in real time, in real life, giving to people. and you like, whoa, where this come from? Whoa, why who just sent me some money? Whoa, why I just feel good today. Whoa, why I got extra joy today. I got extra happiness today. I got extra peace today. Because when you give, it comes back to you. When you
You
give,
know, somebody told me that was like, man, when I was down and out, I remember for like 2 months straight, you sent me $7 a day so I can get something to eat. And that was like, man, what's your cash app? I'm gonna bless you with a little something. I said, man, don't you don't have to bless me with anything, but what you can do is is you can see who in your community needs it. You know what I mean? If you don't do nothing but buy them hygiene stuff and pass it out to the homeless, man. Be that type of servant. You know what I mean? So I say this to say that where there's work to be done, there's a service to be rendered. You know what I
come
mean?
on.
And so when you can render a service and people feel good about you as well as you feel good about yourself,
Yeah.
then um, your blessings is gonna flow repeatedly. And all we gotta remember is this: is always gonna be lessons in our blessings, for real, for real.
Yes. Yes. Uh, and I'm seeing that now. I received a big blessing. I can't say too much right now, but there was favor that um I received from God. I mean favor, and throughout this process, I've learned the lesson of patience. I learned the lessons of trusting God, and I learned the lesson of not putting faith in the thing, but still having faith in the one who gave it to me. Because once
Uh-huh.
we start putting faith and putting all of our trust and all of our love and all of our emotion into that thing, as soon as it messes up, as soon as something don't go right, we sad, we upset, we mad, we depressed, we anxious, and all of that. And it's like my faith
Hmm.
has to be anchored, in the one who gave it to me. But also, it teaches you, okay, I'm a procrastinator. Let me, sit down and get this. I'm not organized. Let me sit down and get this. I may not be, you know, I may be somebody who doesn't really think about, or I don't really write down my stuff, or whatever the thing may be. It also teaches you that as well. And you have to be able to say, okay, how can I fix this? How can I change this? And the blessings, and once you do that, the blessings come, because you have to be ready for it. You got to be ready
Right.
for it. And when God really wants you to have something, He'll put you through something to get to that blessing. And it's like, at first you're like, okay, are you trying to tease me? Are you trying to, like, what you trying to do to me? Because do you even love me if you go keep putting me through this? But then you realize I wasn't even ready. So all of that had to happen so that I could really be ready to receive that. And if you learn your lessons, here come the blessing. But if you still walk around here procrastinating, and you still walk around here lollygagging, God, like, I ain't gonna do that to you. I ain't gonna do that to you. I love you too much to even give you something and then have to take it away. Keep learning the lesson.
That's right. That's right. So we have the CEO of Exquisite PR firm tapping in with us, Miss Nicole M. Jordan, and she says she's preaching. Come on now, and
Telling
and
you.
we also have Johnny O.C. Hopkins
Oh, I love
Of
him.
the Hopkins brothers out there in Richmond, South Carolina, tapping in with us as well. So
I love y'all.
you,
Thank y'all for tuning in.
yeah, no doubt, man. So last but not least, man, what do you want to see from your peers, from your
Oh,
generation Zen, right? What? How do you want the men in your generation to represent themselves?
oh, I want us to really get back to knowing who we are. where we come from. We come from a long line of people who had the strength to fight, who had the strength to believe even when everything around them looked crazy. We come from a line of slaves, but if we go even back further than that, we come from a line of kings and queens. We come from a line of nobility. We come from a line of people who could who could change who could change a small speck of a grain of sand and make it something where people will want it. We come from a line of people who created the light bulb, who created hair products, Madam C.J. Walker, people who created and helped change the civil rights movement, who helped change the wars, people who created health benefits for us. We come from a line of people who have the power. And so when
Marcus Garvey said, if you can change your mind, then you can change your
you
destination.
can
Good God
change your
Almighty.
destination. And so we come from a lot of that, but from the generation as a whole, I want to see us really believe that we are the future. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in now. We get so caught up in I'm young, I can do this. Yeah, have fun, live your life, because you only get one. But but we also have to remember I'm the future. So what am I doing today to help shift or change the future tomorrow? And that's why I think that you know people like Martin Luther King and people like Malcolm X and people like Madam C.J. Walker and like just seeing those people. And if we can go even a little closer to this decade or these the past 2 decades, centuries, Michael Jackson, James Brown, uh, people in the entertainment industry who changed, uh, Quincy Jones, people who changed the trajectory of not only the entertainment industry, but changed the trajectory of how people saw people in the entertainment industry and how people saw themselves in the entertainment industry.
Mhm.
We can see that those people, they had a purpose and they had a plan for something greater than just now. You know, I don't want people to
Right,
just stream my music right now. I don't want people to just watch my movies and my TV shows right now. I don't want people to just, follow my my ideas and my theology and my methodology right now. But I want it 100 years later, 30 years later, 50 years later, even when I'm old and gray, or I'm old and gone, people can still look back and say, "Man, that man or that woman changed something about the way that we even operate in the world." And
right,
that's
right,
what
right.
that's
So
what we have to get back to, looking at the future.
that's right. That's right. That's right. So we're gonna take our last commercial break, and we'll be right back with closing remarks from Jamarius Tyquez, the young warrior. All right, we're back. So we had a sensational conversation, and we talked about why community service is so important, and why does youth mentorship coexist with community service. And and we also touched on anxiety, depression. We touched on social anxiety, emotional anxiety, religious anxiety, but we also touched on how we came up with, if a person had this with the great grandparents and the grandparents and the parents and the pillars of the community that always kept their foot on our neck, you know,
Yeah.
um, so we can do right. And we also touched on, you know, the vulnerability of a male and why
Mhm.
it's not seen like it should. You know what I mean? It's because it's the way that the tough love from the old school men taught them. They taught them to be tough as nails. You know what I mean? Tough as bricks. But sometimes you got to open them doors so you can be vulnerable, especially if you want to keep her by your side. So, with that being said, we'll ask Mr. Jamarius Tyquez to give us some closing remarks, and we'll close out.
I'm gonna tell you something. I thank you again for even allowing me to be on your platform. It's always a pleasure, and thank you for allowing me to, speak and be vulnerable and be real always, even off camera, on camera. Thank you. Um, it's funny that you called me the young warrior. My cousin Shauna Morris. I mean, I don't know, she might look at this, but ever since I was a kid, 10 years old, she would always call me the young soldier. And there were so many
Hmm.
things that meant to me growing up, and now that I'm older and I'm seeing the world differently, man, those words are, because when you are anointed and when you really have a gift, man, you fight so many things mentally, emotionally, all of that, socially, all of that. You fight so many things, and you have to be strong, and you have to be willing to surrender and be obedient still. So, if I can say anything before we leave, I want to say, like, be obedient, and also don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to help when you can, give when you can. It's not all about receiving, but it's about giving. What do you bring to the table? Not just the table of relationships, but the table of friendship, the table of community. What do you bring to the table? What type of value do you have? What type of love can you give? What type of peace or joy can you give somebody? You know? And it's not all about taking. You can't take everybody's joy. You can't take everybody's peace. You can't walk around here and drain, but you have to give, because once you give, it comes back to you. And
That's
you'll
right.
see
That's
a
right.
totally difference in your life, man.
No doubt. No doubt. So, thank you for tapping in with the Chatterbox with King Jacob. The show is produced by Jacob W. Anderson II, aka King Jacob. Executive producers are Kimmy K and Senior G. And shout out to our partners, Zeno FM. And you can catch the audio streaming in 191 countries, China, France, Italy, Africa, Germany, just to name a few. So we thank you for your ongoing support.
Come on, Big
And
Flex.
I just want y'all to do one thing for me. Make sure you understand this. That's their lessons and your blessings, and you are definitely blessed by the best. Peace and love, and we're out of here.
Thank you. Love y'all.